So you live pretty close to the synagogue?
I live not even 50 feet. It's right outside my house, literally right across the street.
What? Were you home today when this happened?
What actually happened was I left my house at around 8:40 because today was supposed to be our championship game for the City League. So I left, and shortly after I get a text from my mom saying there's an active shooter right outside our house. The police came into our house. They're setting up sniper posts. We're all locked in the basement. When I saw the text, my heart sunk immediately. Especially because I wasn't sure what was happening at the time. I wasn't sure what was happening to my family. But first and foremost, I told my head coach, and we made the executive decision to lock everybody in the locker room because my house is on the same street as the school. At the time, I kind of had my fight or flight instincts on. I wasn't really thinking a whole lot. I was just acting, getting everybody safe, like trying to call my mom back, making sure everything's okay, But she wasn't picking up for the longest time, and so I got worried. Like my sister, my brother, and my dad all weren't picking up, so I got pretty nervous.
How long of a period was that? Like that you didn't hear from?
I would say about an hour. It was heartbreaking to say the least. I didn't know what was going on. It's honestly the most scared I've ever been in my life. It was a really tough situation because I just wanted to know that they were okay and them not picking up. Like I understand them not picking up because so much was happening for them. We had 8 police officers in our house setting up sniper posts, barricading the doors, making sure everything was okay. But I understand why they didn't pick up, but it was a very scary moment for me.
So, like when she called you, the cops were already in the house.
Yes.
Did they tell you did they hear gunshots or did the cops just come crashing into the house or?
Yeah, the cops came crashing into the house. My mom actually heard gunshots. Then the cops came crashing into the house. The cops didn't tell my parents what were going on. They just directed them to lock themselves in the basement. So for the longest time, they didn't know what was going on either. But once things started to calm down a little bit, the shooter was still active. But they got the information from the cops and were able to come up from the basement, which honestly was. I would have preferred them to stay in the basement because there was a gun brawl that was happening outside my porch, and my little brother actually witnessed the death of some people getting shot.
How's he handling it?
I would describe it as, he can't fully comprehend what he witnessed, so he wasn't fully aware of the gravity, but it's starting to sink in with him, slowly and slowly as the day goes on. But my parents talked to him. He seemed almost a little numb at the moment. Like what's going on. It's.
Do you know how long they were in the basement?
I believe 3 to 4 hours. At school, we were locked in the locker room for an hour, and then the buses came and they took us to the game. It was a very scary bus ride over there because I still hadn't gotten in full contact with my parents. So it was about an hour. Everybody was locked up in the locker room. We went to the game. We found out it was canceled. We went home. On the bus ride home is when I got in full contact with my parents, and so they assured me that everything was, going to be fine. Me and my friend were actually listening to police scanners at the time, so we heard the criminal, say, all Jews must die. And so we heard him say that on the police scanners. And it was just really tough. I actually didn't get to fully go home until an hour ago because I wasn't allowed because my streets are still all closed down. I had to park a couple streets over and then walk to my house. But I just stayed with my friend, Justin. He took me out to lunch, helping me feel better, because it was just a scary situation.
Have you ever had any interactions with any of the people there that go to the synagogue?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of friends who belong to the synagogue. Luckily, I was able to make sure that they all weren't there that day because it was a Jewish ceremony that was going on, and they're not related to the family. So luckily, they weren't there. But it was a very scary moment texting them all, like calling them, making sure they were okay. How
would you describe the synagogue itself? Just like, is there stuff going on daily and obviously.
Yeah. I mean, everybody there, walking in, they're very nice people. They'll always say hi to you on the street. If it's, a Jewish holiday, they all go, everybody gets to say hi to each other. It was very happy people, gathered together by their religion. Very, very nice people.
What's the scene like there tonight? What's the feeling like there tonight?
A lot of news reporters are there from numerous newspapers, anywhere from CNN was at our house to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette to the New York Times. Everybody was all there. It's definitely barricaded all entrances to where the synagogue is. All those streets are all blocked off. Cop cars everywhere. The SWAT team was still there last time I checked. A lot of ambulances and FBI showed up, and they're just clearing out. The synagogue's still doing their investigation. It's obviously a very crushing moment for the community, especially for Squirrel Hill, the most Jewish neighborhood in all of Pittsburgh and all of Pennsylvania, actually. But all the people are gathered up the street right now for a candlelight vigil, to celebrate the lives and acknowledge the tragedy that happened today. So it's good to see the community come together. I'm proud to be from a community that can come together like this in, times of need. Yeah, for the longest time, Pittsburgh has been acknowledged as like a safe city, a very welcoming place to all religions and races, especially Squirrel Hill to be as diverse as it is, a mainly Jewish neighborhood. But I feel like they feel like it's definitely an attack on their culture. And, from what I was getting from them, they seem almost terrified.
Was your house damaged any?
Some furniture was rearranged and taken apart to set up for sniper posts. But other than that, no. It's definitely going to be a very hard night to sleep. I think, honestly, we just have to come together as a family, acknowledge that, stuff like this, it's definitely an issue. It's a tragedy, but the only way we're going to get through this is coming together as a family, a community, staying strong, and keep pushing on and just pray for people who lost their lives, the families affected by this, and just pray that we can stop massacres like this in the future.